Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lee and I like to talk about anime, manga, Korean dramas, and fashion. So if you are into any of that, then stick around. Recently, I have decided that I'm going to be focusing more on watching Korean dramas that I really love and that have really good quality over just feeling the need to finish dramas. For a long time, I really felt like I needed to finish everything that I started, and I just don't have that kind of time, and I don't really want to be using my time for that. So I thought I would share some Korean dramas that I actually finished recently and some that I dropped that I don't really want to recommend. The first Korean drama that I want to recommend is actually one that was based off of a webtoon and has gotten a lot of hype, so I'm sure you've probably already heard of it, but if you haven't, the drama Tomorrow, which is on Netflix, was absolutely incredible. I personally started it because Lee Soo-hyuk is in it, and he is one of my favorite actors of all time, and as per usual, he did absolutely amazing in this drama. He was so handsome and he did such a good job playing a very mysterious, a little dark character like he always does, and I can't wait to see what he's gonna do next. So I have my notes here just to talk a little bit about what it's about. So the concept for the show is that there is Grim Reapers in an afterlife, and within the Grim Reaper organization society there is an entire department that is completely dedicated to suicide prevention. Now, before I get into anything else in the show, if you aren't already aware, South Korea is ranked 4th in the world for the highest suicide rates, and so the fact that there's a Korean drama completely dedicated to this is really interesting to me, and also just it's new. It's a big deal. Suicide is not talked about in Korea, and I think if you aren't triggered by these sorts of topics and the things that would trigger suicide, I think it's a really interesting show to watch, and it's really beautiful. Be prepared to cry pretty much every episode for this show. If you aren't in the headspace to be able to handle watching a show where you're gonna cry every episode, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this show. I know that some weeks I had to wait to watch an episode because I just wasn't able to do that. I didn't want to cry. I was already emotional, so I decided to wait. So definitely keep that in mind as you start to watch the show. The side story of Ko Ryun and Park Joon-gil, which is Lee Soo-hyuk's character as well as the main female character, was actually really interesting to me, and I wish that they had spent more time in the show leading up to their relationship and their past relationship and talking more about that, because I thought that was a really interesting aspect of the show. I thought it could have been, you know, involved more, and I wish that they hadn't just kind of like packed it into the last couple episodes in a race for time, which I feel like is very typical for a lot of Korean dramas with like side couples. But seeing as how they were sort of the main romantic focus, even though there is no romantic focus within them now, I wish they had talked about that more and actually shown more of it in the drama. But seeing all of the different characters grow and evolve and go through and process their different issues while they're handling these different cases was really interesting to me, and I loved seeing them grow. Each one of them handled different past experiences and sort of grew from their traumas or things that they had been holding on to, which I loved seeing. One thing I did find very weird is the main character, Choi Jun-woong, felt unnecessary to me. You know, you start off the show with him introducing you to all the characters and him going into this coma and having to take on this position with the department in order to, you know, return to his life. But other than that, I didn't feel like he was really needed. I was more intrigued by the other characters and the Grim Reapers and how they became Grim Reapers and how, you know, they were all interconnected, that I wish they'd either made his backstory and his character more involved with their history and their past, or just not at all. I feel like he wasn't necessary. They could have made Lee Soo-hyuk and the main female lead the two main characters, and I think that would have been really great as well. And you could have made it a romance, honestly, with that. You could have made it about them not remembering each other and finding each other again and, you know, restarting their relationship. I feel like that would have also been a really interesting way to go about it with this drama. I was not expecting to love this Korean drama as much as I did. Again, I started it for one of my favorite actors. Kim Woo-bin is one of my favorite actors. He recently had throat cancer and took a hiatus while he was going through his cancer treatments, so this is sort of his first drama back in the scene of acting, and oh my god, did he not disappoint. First of all, he is a very hot fisherman in this, which he looks amazing. He looks fantastic. I love him. But also, his acting in this was so good. I loved seeing him in this, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do next. I know he has a couple other dramas lined up that he's already filming, so I can't wait to watch those. To say, I wasn't expecting to enjoy this show as much as I did, because I feel like the description for it made me think like, oh, it's just gonna be, you know, the standard Korean drama that's just, it's too many characters, it's too many stories all at once, it's gonna be too much, but I'll give it a shot anyway because he's in it and I want to support him. However, I think Tomorrow and Our Blues might be up there for me in my top 10 Korean dramas with It's Okay Not to Be Okay. All three of them cover themes that most Korean dramas don't cover, which I really appreciate and I love seeing being more diversified and also being more open to talking about subjects that aren't normally talked about in Korea. So I'm really excited to see more dramas like that coming out in the future. The description for this is a little complicated, so I'm going to read my notes. Set in Jeju, the show follows 14 characters. Yes, 14 characters. It sounds like a lot, but as you start watching it, it's not too bad. Which is divided into 8 stories over the 20 episodes, all dealing with their own issues and lives, but living in the same neighborhood and being interconnected. Some of the characters went to high school together, others working together, and some who are falling in love. The writers of the show did such a good job blending everyone's stories together and making it seamlessly one. It really wasn't complicated to follow the stories, and you can see in the title of the episode, it's basically either the first half or the second half of an episode leading into the first is how it works to connect all of the stories. And they do such a good job of keeping all the characters interconnected within each other's stories that you don't forget who someone is or you don't forget how they're connected. So sometimes they're talking about, you know, someone's mom or someone's relationship and their kids and how maybe they hate each other but now their kids are friends. Different stories like that, which I really thought was interesting. The cast for this, on top of everything else, is immaculate. Even sort of the like side characters who you don't necessarily see for the rest of the show are really well known, and you probably will recognize them from other dramas that they've been in. But a few of the actors who have been in this show were Kim Woo-bin, Kim Hae-ja, Gu Do-shim, Cha Seung-woo, and so many more. It was absolutely amazing. The other thing that I really liked about this drama was all of the drama was stuff that you experience every day and in your everyday life, or you might have to deal with in your family. Some of the issues have to deal with depression, teen pregnancy, you know, family abuse, also talking about male abuse in a marital situation, which I think was really interesting because even in the United States, that's not really talked about much. So the fact they're talking about it in this drama, I think, was really interesting. Also really liked the representation in this drama. There is a character in the show who is deaf, and she is played by a deaf actress. And some of the other actors learned sign language in order to play their characters who interact with her. Another character who I really was impressed and happy to see in a Korean drama was a character who is autistic and who has Down syndrome. One of the character's sisters, who is in many episodes, is involved in that, and she's played by an actress who actually has those things. And the fact that they talk about the issues of, you know, being accepted in society with a family member like that, the struggle of being judged, and also the struggles of finding a balance where they can live happily, as well as just the struggles that that character also faced of, you know, missing their family and wanting to be with them. Overall, I think that this drama did such a good job talking about controversial issues as well as depicting everyday life in ways that most Korean dramas don't. A lot of Korean dramas want to focus on the most extreme aspects of the drama, and I really liked the fact that this was everyday life. The third drama that I finished was a drama that was called Shooting Stars, which follows the behind the scenes of an entertainment agency that manages different actors, and specifically following the team that handles their scandals and all of their public relations. I find these types of dramas really interesting because you can see more of what it's actually like to manage these different actors and actresses, and their scandals and the rumors that can come about while they're working with one another. Compared to the other two dramas that I just mentioned, this show was super easy to watch, and it was sort of effortless. I could kind of just put it on while I was scrolling on my phone and not really think too much about it. I adore Lee Sung-kyung. I have loved all of the things that she has been in. She has great style. She had great style in this show too. I thought they dressed her amazing for it. Do I think this is her best drama that she's ever done? No. She hasn't done a show or a movie in a while, and I think this was an easy show for her to get back into and to film and work on. I finished this mainly for her. I think if it had been any other actress, I would have dropped this drama. It was very predictable. It was just a very standard romance Korean drama, which isn't a bad thing. I love my good romance dramas. And they threw in some drama with like the main lead's anti-fans, which I just didn't really think was necessary. It was sort of just like an added addition that was like thrown in there throughout the show and wasn't necessarily thought through or really connected through the entire plot. And honestly, this almost felt like it should have just been a mini series instead of a full length Korean drama. A Korean drama that I did drop that I was really sad about was the Korean drama Crazy in Love. I thought Crystal was doing a great job in her role in this show. I loved her when she was in FX, and I love seeing her developing her acting career. However, I just couldn't get into this show. I mean, the fact that like her boss has this accident when she's like getting fired, and she has this brain cancer, and then he loses his memory and goes into a coma, and she pretends to be his fiance, and da. It was just too much for me. It just seemed too unrealistic, and I really couldn't get into it. I wanted to get into it, but I just couldn't. So to be honest, there aren't that many things that I'm watching right now, but two Korean dramas that I am watching that are on Netflix, which I'm really enjoying, are one being Cafe Minamdong, which is a detective cop mystery show where a detective was blamed for editing evidence in a case, and he went to jail, and now that he is out, he is pretending to be a shaman in order to gain information from the political elite as well as just elite rich people to solve the case that he was never able to. And his female lead, who I think will be romantically involved, I'm not quite sure yet as we enter, you know, episode 9. It's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. It has me hooked every week, and I can't wait to see more of it. It's funny. I think the connection of shamans with the elite in Korea is super interesting, and if you're curious about more of that, I would definitely look into it because it's so fascinating to me the way that shamans hold a lot of power in a lot of the politics and money making in Korea. Also stars actress Oh Yeon-sol, who was in A Korean Odyssey, which I absolutely loved. She was amazing in it. If you haven't seen that drama, definitely check it out. It also stars leading actor Sol In-guk, who I love. I think he's amazing. He has been in Doom at Your Service, The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, Shopping King Louis. He's been in a lot of Korean dramas as the male lead, and I think he's done an amazing job in all of them, and he continues to do an amazing job in this drama, switching from being very comedically funny to serious and dramatic, and doing a lot of action stunts, which I think is really great. The second Korean drama that I am watching on Netflix is called Alchemy of Souls. It is a historical fantasy drama, but the historical aspect isn't too much involved in it because the royalty and the government system involved aren't based off of real historical events like typical historical dramas are. It's all sort of a made-up fantasy world, but they keep the cultural aspects of the clothing and the buildings and things like that, which I really, really like. I wasn't really thinking I was gonna like this drama as much as I did, but I binge watched the first 6 episodes when they came out, and now I'm just continuing on with it, so I'm really liking it so far. The fantasy side of this drama is also about these sort of different clans that hold magical abilities and how they all surround this one girl, Naksu, who is this well-known assassin. And the show starts off with one of the extremely well-known families chasing after Naksu in hopes of putting her on trial for her crimes. However, before they can catch her, she does this sort of magic or spell thing that they call, which is where she switches souls with someone, and she moves her soul from her body into another person's body, and she gets involved with one of the young masters from one of the high-ranking families in the sorcery community. So I really love this show. I can't wait to see where they're going with it because it's really interesting so far, and I like the world that they have built around these characters a lot. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know what you're watching right now or what you have watched, because I'm always looking for really good Korean dramas to check out. So let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you thought of any of the dramas that I mentioned in this video.